Good morning, just after 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel down yonder, fighting disease. We're not joking. Erin's got local news up next.
Early voting numbers are in. We'll tell you more about that. Big decision today from Senator John Kennedy. That's coming up. And the LSU Tigers headed to a bowl game. And who's coming here for the Independence Bowl?
You've got to be angry. You've got to be livid about the news that came out of Baton Rouge yesterday. You've got to be so angry. You've got to be, if I were an LSU fan like you, I would be burning jerseys on the lawn.
Huh?
And you're not, and I'm going to find out why.
Okay.
Something happened at the hockey game Saturday night that had only happened once before.
Uh-oh.
In 20 years of hockey. I'll tell you what happened.
Oh, boy.
Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour. It's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Nearly 6,700 people voted early in the coming election. 3,828 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is this Saturday. Also from politics, Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision known today on whether or not he'll run for governor. Baton Rouge Republican businessman Eddie Raspone is currently the only announced challenger to Governor John Bel Edwards. LAPolitics.com publisher Jeremy Alford expects Kennedy to jump in.
Probably timing rather than indecision. John Kennedy has outside super PAC money lined up, pulled the trigger on his media consultant. It certainly seems like that he's lined up to make an announcement.
Kennedy's less than 2 years into his 6-year Senate term. The late former President George H.W. Bush will lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda from tonight until Wednesday morning. The 41st president died Friday at his home in Houston. He was 94. Local business VP dies in a plane crash. Matt Parker with that.
Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a plane crash. Johnson, a companion, and pilot all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. An investigation into what caused the crash is ongoing. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
New CDC numbers indicate drug overdose deaths up 12% in our state. Overdose deaths have contributed to the life expectancy rate going down for 3 straight years. President and CEO of Trust for America's Health, John Auerbach, says this marks the first time that more than 1,000 people died in a single year from overdoses in our state.
That kind of increase in a single year is extraordinarily unusual and a reminder that this is a very serious epidemic and one where we're not out of the woods yet.
He says part of the reason for the increase in the deaths last year was the increase in the use of synthetic opioids. Police say a woman in Louisiana accidentally shot in the back by her 2-year-old child. The Shreveport woman seriously wounded Saturday morning when it appears the child accidentally discharged an unsecured gun. Louisiana is getting an $11 million as its share of a multi-state settlement with Deutsche Bank over the manipulation of a key benchmark involving global interest rates. Attorney General Jeff Landry's office, which was involved in the settlement, says $3 million will go to the Bond Commission, the remaining $8 million to the Transportation Department. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup is the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl. Temple making their 4th straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Now, LSU will take on undefeated UCF in the Fiesta Bowl. Coach Ed Orgeron says his team deserved to play in a New Year's Six bowl game.
These guys started off unknown throughout the season, had some very big wins throughout the season. We gelled as a football team, and it's a great reward for our football team. Very well deserved.
Meantime, LSU defensive back Greedy Williams, who played at Calvary in Shreveport, has declared for the NFL draft, and he will not play in the bowl game. An English couple that lost an engagement ring down a Times Square utility grate is now grateful that New York police found it. John Drennan and Daniela Anthony tweeted that they're happy officers were able to recover the ring, which they thought was gone forever. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Monday.
Traffic update, first one of the day. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near the Cross Lake Bridge due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
The cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. So do you have what I had?
I don't know. What'd you have?
I just like a cold. Just,
it's all congested all up in
here. Oh, it was
here.
all in my head, like ocean in a bottle. You lean one way and it's like, you lean the other way. You okay down there?
I'm going to be all right.
Gee whiz, do an x-ray, MRI. Oh, my brother had his knee replacement surgery.
Oh, how'd it go?
That's a scar.
Oh, is it?
Holy cow.
Wow, okay.
Okay, put your leg out.
Yeah.
Now, reach down, if you can reach that far, and start leg about 4 inches, 5 inches below your knee. Now draw a line straight up to like mid-thigh.
Dang.
I know.
It's more than a foot.
And then, coming across the other way, like perpendicular, parallel
Yeah.
to the floor. They put a black mark, and I don't know why they do that, like in medicinal magic marker, whatever that is. 'Cause
Sharpie?
Yeah, well, I guess, but it's $650.
Yeah.
So they draw this black Sharpie line going the other way, like I said, perpendicular to your knee.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the cut coming up and down. So I guess the reason they do that line in the Sharpie is so when they sew you back up, they'll know where the skin came apart.
Right.
His is about like half an inch apart.
Ew.
It's gross looking.
Wow.
It's
I don't want to
gross.
hear that.
It's gross.
I don't want to hear
Why,
that.
you thinking about having it done?
No, I'm thinking about pancakes, and I don't want to think about that while I'm thinking
It's
about pancakes.
Gross looking. So how mad are you this morning?
About what?
Greedy Williams' LSU career is over.
I'm okay with that.
On Sunday, the Shreveport, Louisiana native announced on Twitter he was going full Fournette. I inserted that.
Mm-hmm.
And foregoing his final 2 seasons of eligibility, no surprise, to enter the 2019 draft. LSU coach Ed Orgeron confirmed via Sunday's media teleconference that Williams will not play in the Fiesta Bowl.
Why play, Robert?
I can give you a dozen reasons why you should play.
I understand why he doesn't.
You just described a big knee injury.
I understand why he doesn't. But to you, as an LSU fan, since this reduces your chance of winning by, 15%, aren't you just a little bit PO'd?
The game doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Is Greedy Williams selling out the school? Is he selling out the fans?
Greedy Williams is doing what's best for Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams is being greedy? Is that what you're telling me?
Of course.
Or is he protecting the investment?
He is the product.
If you get halfway through the season and you know you're going to be an All-American, you know you're going to be All SEC, you know you're going to be all everything, and you hear from pro scouts, man, I got to tell you, you're awesome. In fact, they say, if the draft were right now, you'd be our number 1 pick.
What would you be saying if this was the day after the game and he tore his MRI or MCI or whatever it
As
is?
somebody says, shut up and let me finish.
Yeah.
So you're 6 games into the season, and a pro scout tells you, in fact, more than one says, dude, you're awesome. If the draft were today, you'd be our number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Why not pick up the 10th in?
You're still in the season.
So if a pro scout tells you, if the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys says you are going to be our number 1 pick if you're on the board, why would you?
The
play?
games matter. The bowl games don't matter.
So the only thing,
the bowl game is just a check for the university. That's all this is. A big check for the university.
You as a fan, do you just not care?
I don't care about the Fiesta Bowl.
You're not going to watch?
Oh, I'm going to watch.
LSU loses to Central Florida 31-6. You go, it's not Coach O's fault.
It's not Alabama to me.
Not anybody's fault.
I'm not worried about the Fiesta Bowl. But the day after the Fiesta Bowl, if he had a devastating injury, you and I would both be saying, God, why did he play in that game? He didn't need to play.
Parky, you are rolling your eyes in a disgusted manner.
This is, it just, to me, the worst part about players sitting out of bowl games or any game for any reason is you're being a bad teammate. You are nothing without the team. Your entire life is being coached to be a team player because you are stronger as a unit. If I was an NFL scout and a kid sat out, I would not draft him because he's a bad teammate.
If Greedy Williams, as he plans, skips the game, and LSU loses to Central Florida, say it's 31-7, 31-10, and they make LSU look bad, and there's sophomores or freshmen on that team, kids on that team, who as a result of that ass-kicking, if their draft stock would lower, how would you feel about Greedy Williams then if you play for the team?
I have no problem with him doing this. None. I had no problem when Leonard Fournette did it. Now, if it's a national championship game, it's a whole different story.
So back to my scenario. If they told you, if you're Erin McCarty, all SEC, first-team All-American linebacker, and halfway through the year, 8 games in, the week before Alabama, 3 NFL general managers say, dude, the only thing standing between you and a $10 million guaranteed contract is you don't get hurt.
The season's not over yet. I play. The Fiesta Bowl is not part of the regular season. It doesn't matter.
Is this the
you don't understand.
Are things like this, Greedy Williams sitting out, Leonard Fournette a couple or 3 years ago, is this the result of the system that the NCAA and the conferences and the college football bowl series, like the championship, was it the CBS, CFB, LSMF, TSOB?
Right.
Is this a product of the system they've created, where really only 3 games matter at the end of the season?
That's exactly what they've created. 3 games matter. The rest are just paychecks for the university. And money making for the town.
Exhibition games.
Yes.
Bragging rights.
Who plays during the exhibition games of the NFL? That's a team sport. Everybody should be playing for their team.
They do take some snaps. At least they're on the field.
1 or 2 snaps.
Hey, they're still on the field, aren't they? They're at practice. They're on the field.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Let me repeat. 318-392-1884.
Phooey on you.
Huh?
Phooey on you.
No, look, I don't have any feeling about it one way or the other. It's college sports.
Yeah.
I've told you 100 times, I find it very difficult, if not impossible, to be invested emotionally in anything a 20-year-old kid does. Mm-hmm. And when I say it, like, people go, you kind of got a point. That's why I'm not a huge fan of college sports. They're 20-year-old kids. I remember what I was like when I was 20.
Yeah.
Think about what you were like when you were 20. Think about Erin McCarty at 20, and some 40 or 50 or 60-year-old guy is driving around his golf course on an LSU golf cart wearing purple and gold, including LSU golf shoes with an LSU golf bag. Mm-hmm. Which of you is crazy? 19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Ruben's here, Monday Morning Traffic.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near the Cross Lake Bridge due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. And sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
Twenty-one past 6 o'clock, KEEL Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU will face Central Florida in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on January 1st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The first ever matchup between the Tigers and Knights will kick off at noon Central Time. This is LSU's first trip ever to the Fiesta Bowl and the first by an SEC team since 2000. Central Florida carries a nation's best 25-game winning streak into the game, including a 56-41 win over Memphis in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. LSU will be without Calvary alum Greedy Williams. The All-American announced on social media Sunday that he was foregoing his college eligibility and making himself available for the 2019 NFL Draft. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl will feature Duke from the ACC and Temple from the AAC. The Blue Devils are coached by David Cutcliffe, who coached in the I Bowl 3 previous times with Ole Miss and came out on top each time. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones is considered by many to be a first-round pick in the next NFL Draft. Temple's lone conference loss was to Central Florida. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl kicks off at 1:30 on December 27th. The Green Bay Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy after Sunday's loss to lowly Arizona at Lambeau Field. McCarthy coached the Packers to one Super Bowl title and had a 61% winning percentage over 13 years. And the Houston Texans ran their winning streak to 9 with a 29-13 win over Cleveland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-four past 6 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So who's coming in this morning at 7 o'clock and why?
These are the term-limited city council members, Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, and Oliver Jenkins, going to come in and talk about kind of the future of the city.
It's kind of your idea. Tell me what motivated you to contact these gentlemen.
Well, I was thinking, I'm going to write a thank you note to each of them for their 8 years of service. And I thought about, let's talk about the future of the city. They've served for 8 years. They served under 2 mayors. They know some of the problems. They know some of the history. They're going to leave with a lot of knowledge about our city. I want to find out from them, is the city in trouble? Where are we headed? What can we do to fix our problems?
It's an interesting point you make, because one of the points that opponents of term limits in any political system will tell you, be it on a national, a state, or a local level, is that as soon as somebody figures it out, 4 or 8 years, whatever it happens to be, it's time to go. Do you feel like maybe now they've figured it out? Now they know how the system works. Now they know what the problems are. What is it going to be, 4 new council people? And the point has been made repeatedly, mostly by Scott Hughes, political analyst Scott Hughes. You've got a brand new, in 4 instances, city council coming in, and it's going to take them X amount of time. There's a question. Write it down. Gentlemen, how long did it take you to, quote unquote, figure it out?
Get your feet wet, yeah.
Before you really had
learn the ropes.
Or do you look at it now after 7 years and 10 months or 11 months, and do you say, I still don't know. There's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Is it like many other bureaucracies? We've created a system that is just, it's like the blob. It just moves on its own. You can't really speed it up or slow it down.
Is it a machine that just works, no matter, you just plug and play?
Runs itself.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's your number one? What's your lead-in question? I know what mine is, because we start with something a little informal. How well did you guys know each other before you got elected? Did you know each other at all?
Right. Probably not.
And do you fist fight now? Do you get along? Do you go drinking?
Do you hang out? Yeah. I would like to know what they think and what their advice is to the next council about what the key problem is that needs to be addressed. What's the key thing you need to do as a city council member to help? Because you're not doing this just to, collect a paycheck.
Which leads to the next question. So what's the most frustrating thing? That you realize at what point that your powers, not to mention your influence, your reach, your tentacles, as a city council person are limited, and you say, this is so obvious. Why is it that only I and a couple other people see this? Why doesn't the mayor see this? Why don't 5 other council people see this? Why? This is going to make me crazy.
Yeah.
What makes you crazy?
Oh, I'm sure the phone ringing at all ungodly hours and the emails and texts they get. I'm sure that's craziness. I can't even imagine.
I would imagine, and I think Matt will agree with me on this, that the most irritating, the thing that would wear you down the most, more than anything else, that would be frustrating and angering and irritating, is texts from you at 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah, that happens. That does happen.
We'll see what they have to say. So, term limited city council people: Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, Oliver Jenkins, joining us this morning at 7 o'clock until we stop.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
From Americans for Prosperity, Louisiana chapter, John Kay joins us just after 8. Have you seen? It's on the table. They want it on the table. All these big businesses, lobby groups, organizations, gas tax increase being brought up.
Oh, boy.
You know, it's been a long time. We haven't had our gas tax increased. Look at everybody else. We should be ashamed here in Louisiana because, and they are starting a digital program, a digital advertising campaign to show you how bad Louisiana roads are, as a means of convincing you, the citizen, that we need a gas tax increase.
How much are they talking about?
Anywhere 40 on down. What was John Bell's initial shot over
quarter, wasn't it?
40 cents was the original John Bell and Sean Wilson.
Wow.
That's what they originally wanted.
Boy.
And then in the legislature, 17 cents got shot down. 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound to the Cross Lake Bridge due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
The cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The casket of former President George H.W. Bush will make its way on Air Force One from Texas to D.C. to lie in the Capitol Rotunda. Fox's Casey Stiegel is in Houston with details of the funeral arrangements.
Wednesday, that national day of mourning, and the state funeral will be held at 11 Eastern at the Washington National Cathedral. From there, it is back to Texas, where Mr. Bush will lie in repose at St. Martin's Episcopal Church around the corner from us here in Houston. And Thursday morning, a second funeral service held there before finally taking one last ride in Texas. A train will carry the former president from Houston to College Station, where he will be laid to rest at his presidential library and museum.
He'll be buried next to his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. Early voting numbers are in for Caddo Parish. Matt Parker with that.
According to the Caddo Registrar of Voters, nearly 6,700 people voted early in the upcoming election. 3,838 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is Saturday, December 8th. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision today on whether or not he'll run for governor in 2019.
Well, I've been asked to run. If you believe the polls, if I ran, I'd win.
Most political watchers do expect Kennedy to jump into the race. A local business VP has died in a plane crash. Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a crash. Johnson, a companion and pilot, all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. Investigation into what caused that crash continues. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup's the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl, Temple making their fourth straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com or at the Independence Bowl office. The LSU Tigers, meantime, will be in the Fiesta Bowl on January 1st. They'll take on undefeated UCF. Greedy Williams, Shreveport defensive back, will not be playing in the game. He's announced he's headed for the NFL draft. Here comes Santa Claus down the slopes. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more.
Imagine Santa Claus on skis. About 300 Jolly St. Nick's donning skis and snowboards at Sunday River Ski Resort in Maine to raise money for charity. The 19th annual Santa Sunday in the small town of Newry drawing more Kris Kringles than ever before, but this one is only for Santas who go all in. Participants play the part from head to toe, complete with the red hat, red outfit, and white beard, but they can leave the reindeer at home. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. What do you think about Greedy Williams? Nah, I'm not going to play. Screw y'all. I'm out of here. I'm $1 million baby. I'm $1 million boy, yo. I'm going to make my green, my cash, my, what's the term? What's the cool term for money now?
Scratch?
Yes, but that's from the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a warrior for my scratch. I got that off of The Deuce. That's what a
Okay.
pimp character said on The Deuce. And he was shaking like one of the hookers, one of his hoes, yo.
Oh,
and he's shaking
stop.
her. And he says, I'm a warrior for my scratch, and you got to be too, or something like that.
Gosh.
Short segment here. When we do the long segment like 40 or 41, something happened at a hockey game this weekend that had only happened once in the last 20 years. And Matt was there for both games, and he didn't catch it. Not that you would have, because it was something physical. It was something physical, not something that I might have screwed up like American Coin and Laundry or something like that.
Yeah. What was it?
I'm going to tell you in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
We're not to that segment yet.
All right.
And I can tell you, we had an argument about this Sunday morning playing golf. And Matt and I have, how many of the songs that I have ruined for you can you name? I mean, literally ruined.
Ooh.
Natural Woman is one.
Yeah, Eric Clapton.
No, wait. Natural Woman, because you saw that as some sort of paean to feminine independence.
Paean?
P-A-E-A-N, an ode. So you saw this as an ode to feminine independence. And I said, no, she's singing to a guy. You make me feel like a natural woman. It's not I make me feel. I'm not strong. I'm not independent. You, guy, or I'm assuming it's a cisgender song. I could be wrong. But it's not her that's making her feel strong. That was one. Wonderful Tonight. I said the drunk guy booty call. It's literally, he's drunk. He's in bed. He says, I'm drunk. I'm in bed. I had too much to drink. Hey, you're looking kind of good. No, it's a beautiful love song. Okay, if you like a guy who's sloshed, telling you he wants to get to second base.
Yeah, there's a Marvin Gaye one too you ruined.
Both the Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, you thought, oh, that's such a hot song. No, it's a booty call song. You are nothing more than he may as well be doing it with a sex doll.
Oh my
we
God.
looked at the lyrics. He says I like about 75 times. He says you twice. And both times he says you, he's talking about what he wants you to do to him. Yeah, but it's Marvin Gaye. He's hot. Okay.
Ruined my song.
There's another one somewhere, and I can't think of what it is.
I'm not sure.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Did you see that story?
Well, that's been going on for years.
But see, I get that. You know what we're talking about?
Yeah, you've told this story too.
No, it's Baby, It's Cold Outside. Radio stations are banning it from Christmas playlists.
Are they really?
Because it's basically, I'm going to
stay here unless, yeah.
I'm going to slip you a roofie. You're going to wake up, the buttons on your blouse are going to be crooked. I mean, look, and it's look, I understand that. It's a little, it's in this day and age, you know, if it's the 1950s, I want to get you drunk and who knows what might happen. But now, no, you can't do that. That's literally what it's not like the guy just mentions it once.
Right.
It's like a whole bunch of times.
Over and over, yeah.
It's cold outside. Here, take this pill. Geez, Cosby, settle down. 21 away from 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Start things off looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive near Southfield Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Oh, the Jack Spring electric shockbuster button. We may need that later.
Oh, boy.
Because I heard a word on, you know what a malaprop is, right? Like I resemble that remark or something like, okay. The Heineken maneuver was the most famous one of all time. I heard one on talk radio, sports talk radio last week. That was absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to tell you. But it's a little, it's walking the tightrope of decency.
Uh-oh.
Good band name, Tightrope of Decency.
I like that.
Okay, something happened at hockey this weekend that had only happened one other time since the inception, the birth of the Mudbugs in 1997. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Gajik Malakian is a wiener. Gajik Malakian is a wiener.
Who is Gajik Malakian?
I'm glad you asked.
Does he play hockey?
He's a Russian guy who played this weekend and plays for the Amarillo Bulls.
boy.
By
Yeah.
the way, Amarillo's a damn good hockey team. That kid, what's his name? Genuine. Is it Logan Genuine?
I
Is that
believe so.
Did they beat us?
Twice. But this kid, Genuine, may be the best player in the league. I mean, he just dominates games. He had like 5 points in 2 games. He's a great player. And if you watched his last goal, his second goal,
Beautiful.
he just, how he trailed the play. I mean, the kid has instinct. He's just a great player. Going to, I think he's going to go to Western Michigan. So when Amarillo comes back, just to watch this kid play, in addition to the Mudbugs. But back to Amarillo and this wiener, Gajik Malakian.
Gajik Malakian. Okay.
Write this down. I'm going to spell his name for you.
All right, I'm ready.
G-A.
G-A.
G-I.
G-I.
K.
K.
M-I.
M-I.
L-A.
L-A.
K-Y.
K-Y.
A-N.
A-N.
Now, how would you say that?
Gagik Milikian.
Close enough. The Malakian part I had figured out. Before the game, I kind of run up and down the visiting team roster. Who am I going to have trouble with? This? So if they end up in the penalty box,
You got to say their name.
or they score a goal,
Yeah.
I will have the penalty box guy, the off-ice official, ask him how they say, ask the player, how do you say your name?
Right.
Gajik Malakian is from Moscow.
Okay.
And this is his second year. He played for Kenai River last year. And in the, was it second period, I think it was, he got a 10-minute penalty for misconduct. So he's coming to the box.
Okay.
Gajik Malakian is going to be there a long time.
Right.
And I'm looking and I'm thinking, G-A-G-I-K. How on earth do you say that? Is it Gajik? Gajik?
Gagik?
There's a million possible pronunciations
Sure.
in Russian. So he gets in the box, and I say to the penalty box guy, I said, ask him how he says his first name. And he does, and he says it's pronounced Gajik. Malakian.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the penalty, and Gajik Malakian, blah, 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 I forget his number, 10-minute penalty misconduct. And I say it, and I look over after I say it at the kid, Malakian, in the penalty box. And I look over and I kind of give him like a thumb up, a thumb down. In other words, did I get the name right?
Right.
Was I close? So I look at him through the glass, thumb up, thumb down. And he flips me off. Ha!
Did he really?
Yes. Gajik Malakian gave me one of these.
Why?
I don't know.
You must have got it wrong.
Because he's a wiener. No. Well, I said it the way the penalty box guy said to say it.
Maybe he thought you were poking the fun.
Maybe he thought the misconduct penalty was ill-advised. Maybe he was angry at Mudbugs player Ryan Dickinson, who, as soon as he got the penalty and is in the box, skates up to the glass just outside the penalty box door and mockingly rubs his eyes like your little whiny
wow.
punk.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was taking it out on you.
I think he was.
Wow.
So I
Why didn't he just punch you? I would have loved that.
There's glass in the way.
There's glass. They can't get to me.
Yeah.
Now, what did I say? How did I tease? Gajik Malakian gave me the bird. I'm doing my best, kid. I'm doing the best.
That's never happened to you.
Well, not exactly. How did I frame this entire segment?
Nothing like this has ever happened.
I said, what did I say? This was the
second time.
Oh, that's right.
Back in around 2000, there was a guy that played for Memphis. This is a Central Hockey League. May have been the old WPHL. I'm not 100% sure. There was a guy that played for Memphis. Write this name down. And remember, you're dealing with hockey players and weird name pronunciations.
Yeah.
L-U-C-H. Nasato was his last name. N-A-S-A-T-O. So Memphis, this is early in the season. Memphis hasn't come to town.
Luke Nasato.
That's what I thought. I'm thinking Luke Nasato. Luke Nasato was insane. He was crazy. I mean, he literally should have been
jail
institutionalized.
Okay.
He was a crazy man. So Luke Nasato gets a penalty for, I don't know, attempting to run over a referee with a Zamboni. I have no idea. But it's 2 minutes and he comes over. And he's in the box next to me. And I read the penalty, Luke Nasato, Memphis, blah, 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 2 minutes, attempted homicide. And all of a sudden, there's this banging, bang, bang, bang on the glass next to me. And Luke Nasato, whose name is really pronounced Luch, but I did not know.
Okay.
It's Luch Nasato, crazy man.
Yeah.
He's banging his glass. I'm sorry, he's banging his stick against the glass and banging his fist against the glass, and his face is pressed up this crazy looking like Scott Farkas in the Christmas Story face.
Oh, man.
And he's screaming at me. And he screams, there are things that you'll never forget. He screams the following. It's Luch. It's Luch, you effing idiot. It's Luch. And if you get it wrong again, I'll come to your house and kill everybody in your family.
Whoa. I love this guy. Where is he now?
I think he's institutionalized.
Yeah, he might be.
You talk about being scared. I mean, I was terrified.
So don't call him Luke.
No, it's Luch Nasato.
Okay.
But that's this weekend with Gajik Malakian, the second time anything that I have been abused, emotionally abused by a hockey player.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man, I like this Luke Nasato.
I'm sorry I missed both of these.
Yeah.
I stood up, I yelled at him, joke's on you, kid. I'm out of parents.
Yeah.
649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's traffic. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near the Cross Lake Bridge due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.117 FM at 710 Keel, 652. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU will face Central Florida in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on January 1st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The first ever matchup between the Tigers and Knights will kick off at noon Central Time. This is LSU's first trip ever to the Fiesta Bowl and the first by an SEC team since 2000. Central Florida carries a nation's best 25-game winning streak into the game, including a 56-41 win over Memphis in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. LSU will be without Calvary alum Greedy Williams. The All-American announced on social media Sunday that he was foregoing his college eligibility and making himself available for the 2019 NFL Draft. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl will feature Duke from the ACC and Temple from the AAC. The Blue Devils are coached by David Cutcliffe, who coached in the I Bowl 3 previous times with Ole Miss and came out on top each time. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones is considered by many to be a first-round pick in the next NFL draft. Temple's lone conference loss was to Central Florida. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl kicks off at 1:30 on December 27th. The Green Bay Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy after Sunday's loss to lowly Arizona at Lambeau Field. McCarthy coached the Packers to one Super Bowl title and had a 61% winning percentage over 13 years. And the Houston Texans ran their winning streak to 9 with a 29-13 win over Cleveland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, yes, ma'am, what you got?
We're going to have 3 outgoing city council members, the 3 that are term limited, joining us just after 7.
At last, they can speak their mind.
Yeah, whatever. No holes barred. Let's duke it out.
Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, and Oliver Jenkins in studio just past 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor, look this up, because if you, I want you to decide whether or not you can tell us what Dolly Parton said on the Jimmy Fallon show, on the Tonight Show last week. So just put Dolly Parton joke Tonight Show.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny. This is one of those, it will sound better if it comes from you.
Ooh. A Dolly Parton joke about a threesome?
Keep going.
Hang on.
See, there's a Jennifer Aniston, rather. I think Jennifer Aniston did a Hallmark movie or something.
Yeah.
And they got Dolly Parton, since it's a Christmas movie, they got Dolly Parton to do the music for it and some other stuff. And so she and Jennifer Aniston got to hang out a little bit, talk about the ideas that she wanted for the songs, just the theme of the film. Saw it, did you?
Yeah, I just read it.
Whoa. I can't read that on the radio.
And so Dolly Parton is what, we got to go?
I can't read that. No, I'm not reading that.
We'll talk about this more after 7 o'clock.
Whoa.
Yeah, we can.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'll read it. I'll be the man in the room.
It's not that bad. If it's like an 80-year-old lady saying it.
Yeah.
It's not Dolly Parton. She's like your nanny. It's okay.
Yeah.
6:56, here's Rush on Keel.
The rich are under attack again. This time it's because some well-off California homeowners dared to hire private firefighters to keep their homes from being destroyed during the latest wildfires. Now, despite what the drive-by media is saying, this is not something new. 10 years ago, insurance companies began offering homeowners an option to have dedicated firefighters protect their homes for a price. And it was a win-win. The homeowners felt safer and the insurers minimized their risk. And these policies are not just offered to rich homeowners. A lot of middle-class homeowners buy them as well. But the media narrative is that rich California homeowners, including celebrities, saved their homes with private firefighters while the poor were burned out. The media also claims that the private forces supposedly don't cooperate with the government-hired firefighters, all of which misses the real point. In California, the biggest fire risk comes from elected liberal Democrats and their radical environmentalist wacko policies who refuse to manage the forests and get rid of the kindling. The citizens who realize this have wisely taken responsibility, and they're paying for it themselves. And that somehow is not fair.
They may not be your ordinary political pundits, but these days, that's a good thing. These mamas make sense. Terry Netterville and Denise Arthur. Listen to Mama on American Ground Radio. Weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. Right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. And streaming live at KEELnews.com.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Still don't know what Erin thinks about that Alabama game on Saturday. Got to talk about that. 6:59. One more look at traffic for the 6 o'clock hour. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Kings Highway and Line Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Hamilton Road near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. And sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 101.7 FM, Shreveport.
Just after 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and Miss Erin has local news up next.
Early voting numbers are in. We'll take a closer look. Big decision expected today from Senator John Kennedy. We'll talk more about that, too. And local business VP has died in a plane crash.
If LSU was playing Alabama, and there was like about a minute and a half or 2 minutes to go, and they were tied, and 4th and 11, Coach O goes for it with a fake punt.
Oh, man.
And
Head on a platter.
Didn't even come close. So how guilty do you think that Georgia coach feels this morning?
Oh, my gosh.
Or how roasted do you think he's getting?
Oh, he is getting roasted.
On the way out, so to speak, Shreveport City Council members Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, Oliver Jenkins join us to talk about the state of Shreveport. And that's in less than 10 minutes. Traffic and weather and Fletcher and Sports coming up here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Nearly 6,700 people voted early in the coming election. 3,828 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is this Saturday. Also from politics, Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision known today on whether or not he'll run for governor. Baton Rouge Republican businessman Eddie Raspone is currently the only announced challenger to Governor John Bel Edwards. LAPolitics.com publisher Jeremy Alford expects Kennedy to jump in.
Probably timing rather than indecision. John Kennedy has outside super PAC money lined up, pulled the trigger on his media consultant. It certainly seems like that he's lined up to make an announcement.
Kennedy's less than 2 years into his 6-year Senate term. The late former President George H.W. Bush will lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda from tonight until Wednesday morning. The 41st president died Friday at his home in Houston. He was 94. Local business VP dies in a plane crash. Matt Parker with that.
Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a plane crash. Johnson, a companion and pilot, all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. An investigation into what caused the crash is ongoing. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
New CDC numbers indicate drug overdose deaths up 12% in our state. Overdose deaths have contributed to the life expectancy rate going down for 3 straight years. President and CEO of Trust for America's Health, John Auerbach, says this marks the first time that more than 1,000 people died in a single year from overdoses in our state.
That kind of increase in a single year is extraordinarily unusual and a reminder that this is a very serious epidemic and one where we're not out of the woods yet.
He says part of the reason for the increase in the deaths last year was the increase in the use of synthetic opioids. Police say a woman in Louisiana accidentally shot in the back by her 2-year-old child. The Shreveport woman seriously wounded Saturday morning when it appears the child accidentally discharged an unsecured gun. Louisiana is getting an $11 million as its share of a multi-state settlement with Deutsche Bank over the manipulation of a key benchmark involving global interest rates. Attorney General Jeff Landry's office, which was involved in the settlement, says $3 million will go to the Bond Commission, the remaining $8 million to the Transportation Department. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup is the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl. Temple making their fourth straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Now, LSU will take on undefeated UCF in the Fiesta Bowl. Coach Ed Orgeron says his team deserved to play in a New Year's Six bowl game.
These guys started off unknown throughout the season, had some very big wins throughout the season. We gelled as a football team, and it's a great reward for our football team. Very well deserved.
Meantime, LSU defensive back Greedy Williams, who played at Calvary in Shreveport, has declared for the NFL draft, and he will not play in the bowl game. An English couple that lost an engagement ring down a Times Square utility grate is now grateful that New York police found it. John Drennan and Daniela Anthony tweeted that they're happy officers were able to recover the ring, which they thought was gone forever. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL traffic update. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Piermont Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 13 after 7 o'clock. The KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. So in the outgoing, as they term out, Shreveport City Council, there are 3 council members, 3 councilmen who will be, I was going to say headed to the happy hunting ground. That's not exactly. It's Jeff Everson is here along with Michael Corbin and Oliver Jenkins. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. My pleasure.
Pleasure.
Great to be here. Thanks so
Jeff and
much
I
for
were
having us.
We're talking off the radio a couple of seconds ago. Our favorite spot for nachos is the Corby's Grill, the brisket nachos.
I hear that. I need to stop by there.
You know where the 2 best nachos, now I'm not trying to impugn anyone's nachos, but the 2 best nacho spots in town are Corby's Grill for the brisket nachos and Abby Singer's for the duck nachos.
I agree on both accounts.
Wow.
We have similar nacho taste.
Only you were in my district.
There we go.
How well did the 3 of you know each other, if at all, 8 years ago when you were incoming council fellas?
Not at all. I mean, I think we recognized each other when the campaign started, but beyond that, I personally
Had you spoken to either of them prior to the campaign 8 years ago?
Probably not.
No, and we're probably just enough age apart between us that we didn't grow up, it's same age here in high school.
We probably all had mutual friends,
Yeah, I think
but
that's right.
not. I didn't know either of them well.
Mike, tell me
I
about
knew
your
Michael a
relation-
little
Yeah,
better than Oliver.
Tell me about your
little bit.
relationship with them now.
Well, Jeff and I had a little bit of a relationship before we knew each other, but I think that this 8 years on council has given us a great opportunity to get to know each other. Each of us think quite differently at times, and I think that we agree more than people would think that we would agree. And it's been very very high point of being on council is to be friends with these 2 guys.
Are you buds now? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think
absolutely.
we have no problem picking up the phone and asking each other for advice and
We
getting opinions.
probably won't have as much of a need to vent to one another after it's all said and done, but maybe those conversation topics can go to something more fun.
That's an interesting point you bring up. Looking back at and you can each take this. Looking back at your 8 years on the city council, more good moments or more frustrating moments?
Well, the frustrating moments are because you're trying to work towards something good. Yeah. So, I mean, the frustrating moments aren't necessarily bad. It's just that, nothing worth doing comes easy. So, you got
especially in the city council.
Sure.
certainly no regrets on my side. I mean, yes, there have been some pluses and minuses.
You're glad you did it.
Absolutely. No, there's no regret at all. I mean,
I
certainly
turned out. Is there a possibility for either of the three of you? I'm going to sit out 4 years. I'm going back.
I think it's unlikely for me. I certainly won't speak for the rest. The interesting thing is, if I thought about it, would I stay another 4 years if I wasn't term limited? I'm not sure, and I don't have to make that decision, but I think the idea of getting out and then doing it again, that's a little harder for me to imagine, frankly.
Let me start with you, Michael, on this one. You've heard all the people talking about, Shreveport's in trouble, we're in bad shape. Thank you all for your service, by the way. 8 years of God knows what you've been through. Phone ringing at all hours of the night, etc.
People from radio stations.
Yeah, 6 in the morning. Those God. Crazy nuts. What do you see as the city's biggest problem? And then what advice would you give to the next council to tackle it?
I really think our biggest problem is we have a challenge with accepting this is what we want to be. And moving forward with that. We seem to be a bit scattered, and we talk about economic development. We talk about development across Bayou. We talk about this or that. And we really got to get a little more focused, I think.
Do we know what we want to be?
I think there's a lot of people that are giving us suggestions of what we can be. We can be a regional hub for healthcare. We can be many things in the region because of our location. But we can't compete with Dallas. We can't compete with New Orleans. We are unique, and we need to embrace that and really get a common mission and push for that and convince our citizens that, there are good things here.
Jeff, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest problems that we have is right now, I think we're in a moment of transition in the way that people communicate. We used to have pretty shared means of getting our information. And in recent years, everybody gets their information, has their story a little different, digests conversations a little bit differently. So I think there's some disconnect on top of some of the pre-existing problems and some of those market pressures. I mean, this is not an easy time in the landscape of the United States of America to be a small-sized city. I mean, the demographics nationally aren't in our favor. And so while I hear about a lot of the problems, and it's good to be able to hear that, because you want to know what's on people's minds and how you can refocus and address, we really have some things going quite good. I mean, this year, you think about general obligation bond as like mortgages you would have, like we're about to pay off another huge chunk of debt in this coming year, no matter who's elected mayor. And that means property taxes can go down again. They've gone down consistently for a number of years. I mean, there's some things to be very proud of in the way that we're managing this city. That doesn't mean that there's not tremendous challenges and roadblocks, but there's some good stuff going on too.
Jeff Everson, I've got to go to break.
Okay.
It's break time.
Can we time to the chairs?
Outgoing council members, Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, Oliver Jenkins. More on the way, 19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Piermont Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU will face Central Florida in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on January 1st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The first ever matchup between the Tigers and Knights will kick off at noon Central Time. This is LSU's first trip ever to the Fiesta Bowl and the first by an SEC team since 2000. Central Florida carries a nation's best 25-game winning streak into the game, including a 56-41 win over Memphis in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. LSU will be without Calvary alum Greedy Williams. The All-American announced on social media Sunday that he was foregoing his college eligibility and making himself available for the 2019 NFL Draft. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl will feature Duke from the ACC and Temple from the AAC. The Blue Devils are coached by David Cutcliffe, who coached in the I Bowl 3 previous times with Ole Miss and came out on top each time. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones is considered by many to be a first-round pick in the next NFL Draft. Temple's lone conference loss was to Central Florida. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl kicks off at 1:30 on December 27th. The Green Bay Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy after Sunday's loss to lowly Arizona at Lambeau Field. McCarthy coached the Packers to one Super Bowl title and had a 61% winning percentage over 13 years. And the Houston Texans ran their winning streak to 9 with a 29-13 win over Cleveland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Listen.
Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Don't forget the Jack Spring electric shockbuster button, which we may need to use later.
We might.
Is at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the Dolly Parton thing. I got another thing for you, too.
Oh, another
I've
thing?
got a couple of Jack Spring electric testers this morning. Okay, in Studio 4, or with us this morning, 3 outgoing Shreveport City Council members, Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, and Oliver Jenkins. What you got, kid?
I want to get back to Oliver on the challenges our city faces and what advice you would give the incoming council.
Well, yeah, number one, I think Jeff makes a great point earlier. Small to mid-sized cities are struggling across the U.S., and if you don't have a state capital or a major university that is a steady, I'll call revenue source or employer, it's a headwind. So Shreveport just has to acknowledge that, and it is a trend nationally. One of the things I would really encourage, and I've tried to encourage it across the council and as well as the citizens, is citizen involvement. Now, we talk communication a little bit, but the more the citizens can do to alert people of the problems rather than complaining about the problems would really be helpful. We have a good system already on our website that allows people to log in a concern, and then it goes right to the department head or the actual, not even the department head, it goes to the division office or the actual person that can fix it, i.e. a pothole. And things like that could really streamline the system, because when somebody complains on social media but then doesn't tell anybody, then by the time a councilman gets the complaint, then I don't know who does potholes, but I know who the department head. So I send an email to the department head. Department head hands it to the division. Division hands it to the guy who has a truck. I mean, that is not the most efficient way to run an organization, particularly when we have systems in place. So the
genesis of city services probably shouldn't be Facebook. Is that what you're telling me?
That is what I'm saying, and certainly now that we have these new means of communication. And then second is, taking ownership. By the way, litter, that's us. I mean, that is us. Abandoned properties, that is us. Maintaining our front yards, that is us.
And when you say us, you mean citizens.
Yeah. I mean, that is everybody's
Shreveporters.
responsibility. And
Let me throw something.
There.
If you throw stuff out your car window and you want to complain about trashy looking Shreveport, shame on you.
And I would say, whether you're throwing her out or whether you threw it in the back of your pickup truck and you drove down the road and it blew out, it is the same thing.
Yes.
You had talked about both Jeff and Oliver a little bit about term limits and being, running out of time. How long did it take you into your first term to get a sense of how the bureaucracy worked? And is that, in your mind, sort of an argument against term limits? I.e., I've been in this 8 years. I'm just starting to understand. Jeff, how long were you into your first term before you said, I think I got a handle on this?
I had a good understanding because I'd worked in and around government before, but I mean, every organization, I think it's one of those things I think it's interesting from the outside that you wouldn't know is when you see a frustrating decision made or something that you're like, why would they do that? That's probably not because everyone thought it was a great idea. It could be because of the result of a lawsuit or because of some federal or state requirement or some other motivating reason that you have to do certain things.
A camel is a compromise.
Like no one really wanted to do Peace with the Pipes campaign. That was a requirement. Things like that are things that I don't think from the outside. So to get that perspective, it takes a little while. And so I think anybody who's elected in this next term to focus early on just in reading and digesting as much as they possibly can is helpful.
Michael, how about you? Did you have any experience in government? Theoretically, for somebody like me who has zero government experience and really no interest at all in reading a lot of stuff, how long? Not that
you're not unique in that part. Just so we're clear,
the three of us may be unique in the amount that we read.
So, since I'm certainly not the exception, I come to find out, how long did it take you to get a handle on things?
Yeah, it really did take a minute. I came from a business background and had worked for the school system for a number of years early in my career. So I knew a little bit about how government worked and the fact that it's not always the most efficient and fastest. But I talked to previous council members and mentors, and the three of us talked a lot. We actually looked at the agenda before we walked into into the council meeting and had an idea about what we were voting on and what it meant, and that helped a lot. But you don't just walk in day one and know what you're doing, know how the vote goes, because, as a candidate, and especially between election and inauguration, everybody's giving you their idea. Oh, I want a law that does this. I want a law that does this. And you realize day one, the first time you sit in that circle, it's not quite that easy.
Oliver, you were in the military for 1,000 years. What was, which is more efficient, city government or the military?
Well, when we were in the chariots in the first 100 of my 1,000 years, it's really just hub and spoke. So, no.
You got your musket out.
Okay, so I'd say two things. Though the government is similar, the other part is the military is very different in the sense that personnel are always moving, right? There's progression. You're in a particular spot for 3 years and then you move on. There isn't near the upward mobility or transition or kind of necessarily buy-in from personnel at the very lowest level. So that's a difference. I'd say really in terms of budgets, I got the advantage of being elected early. And so I sat through the budget cycle before being elected, which was quite helpful. And I think they would agree that the day that I got there, I had just seen a little bit more about how the city was operating financially. So that was an advantage for me. But it's hard to compare the United States Marine Corps to the city of Shreveport other than they're big. I mean, that's it.
And the Marines has Jeff Everson-like discipline.
Yeah. we actually require people to shave in the morning before coming to work. But beyond that, I mean,
I want to talk about the budget when we come back. Can we do that?
Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, Oliver Jenkins, outgoing city council members for the city of Shreveport. More on the way. Plus local news. Erin's got that next. Here's Ruben, traffic update on KEEL.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Lakeshore Drive near Juella Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The casket of former President George H.W. Bush will make its way on Air Force One from Texas to D.C. to lie in the Capitol Rotunda. Fox's Casey Stiegel is in Houston with details of the funeral arrangements.
Wednesday, that national day of mourning, and the state funeral will be held at 11 Eastern at the Washington National Cathedral. From there, it is back to Texas, where Mr. Bush will lie in repose at St. Martin's Episcopal Church around the corner from us here in Houston. And Thursday morning, a second funeral service held there before finally taking one last ride in Texas. A train will carry the former president from Houston to College Station, where he will be laid to rest at his presidential library and museum.
He'll be buried next to his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. Early voting numbers are in for Caddo Parish. Matt Parker with that.
According to the Caddo Registrar of Voters, nearly 6,700 people voted early in the upcoming election. 3,838 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is Saturday, December 8th. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision today on whether or not he'll run for governor in 2019.
Well, I've been asked to run. If you believe the polls, if I ran, I'd win.
Most political watchers do expect Kennedy to jump into the race. A local business VP has died in a plane crash. Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a crash. Johnson, a companion and pilot, all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. Investigation into what caused that crash continues. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup's the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl. Temple making their fourth straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com or at the Independence Bowl office. The LSU Tigers, meantime, will be in the Fiesta Bowl on January 1st. They'll take on undefeated UCF. Greedy Williams, Shreveport defensive back, will not be playing in the game. He's announced he's headed for the NFL draft. Here comes Santa Claus down the slopes. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more.
Imagine Santa Claus on skis. About 300 Jolly St. Nick's donning skis and snowboards at Sunday River Ski Resort in Maine to raise money for charity. The 19th annual Santa Sunday in the small town of Newry drawing more Kris Kringles than ever before, but this one is only for Santas who go all in. Participants play the part from head to toe, complete with the red hat, red outfit, and white beard, but they can leave the reindeer at home. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM is 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin. Let's do a longer segment here to like 46 or 47. Okay. We'll let the guys hit the road, and then we can do this shorter up to money now.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to ask them, and we have city council members, Oliver Jenkins, Michael Corbin, Jeff Everson with us. They are term limited, so they have a few weeks left to go on their terms. You're about to vote on a budget, the city budget, that I'm very concerned about the low reserves that you're leaving the city in. I think it's under 2%, maybe even less than that. Is that where we're going to be? And is that a critical issue for you?
Well,
Michael, do you want to take it, or I'm happy?
Yeah, I don't mind starting with this. I think that's a concern that we've had with the past few budgets, is how do we get our reserves up to $12-14 million? And I think the challenge comes back into revenue coming into the city has been very very consistent. I mean, there's been a little uptick in sales tax and things like that. But the cost of doing business continues to climb, insurance cost, retirement mandates, and things like that. So
and not just climb, but exponentially increase.
I mean, I don't think the medical
understand
part
that.
alone and the retirement are, they're punitive.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the challenge for the next council, the next administration, is how do we have a sustainable budget? How do we keep up with basic city services? How do we support fire and police in the proper way, in a way that's sustainable?
That sounds like new taxes.
Or new people. Or jobs.
Or a realignment of personnel.
Okay.
I mean,
Oliver,
it could be a
repeat
number
that,
of things.
please.
Or less services. I mean, let's say this, from a pure revenue standpoint, we have about a 5% bump in sales tax, which is net about 3% to our total operating revenues from the general fund. So in any case, we have more than we had. The problem is everything we're doing is getting more and more expensive, as Jeff points out. And, if you got to mow 8,000 abandoned lots in this city, and if it grows in Shreveport, it grows a lot. So now, we just have a lot to manage, take care of. And somebody needs to really, maybe I'd say, right size what we think are the core responsibilities of the city.
It's an interesting point that you just brought up about the abandoned properties across the city. Even with the first Cross Point development was being suggested by the mayor, then there's the second, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. And the state wants the big building for the office, and then there's retail space and living space. And I'm thinking, hang on, guys, everything you want is 600 yards away. It's called downtown. Is on one hand, to weigh those two against each other, the jobs of new construction, but we've got all this empty stuff. What did you think about all that? What do you think about that pertaining to how Oliver just framed it?
Well, it's in my district, and I got to say, it was surprising to me how kind of few conversations I had with some of the people involved in some of the various iterations of that. Not to say that I wasn't invited to some conversations, but not that many, considering what a big idea it is. I think that right now it's really in the hands of a group that's being promoted as a private sector kind of thing. If they can raise their private capital and they can do it privately, then that'll be interesting to see, and there's no reason to stand in their way. But at the same time, I do think we should pay attention to and remember those studies that we paid a lot of money for back when I had just moved back to Shreveport, and I remember reading them, and they had a lot of advice like fix the bad before you add, fix the, like we have these, like the Belt and Daniels study and all these studies that were back in the early 2000s, but what they were saying is Shreveport, you keep growing outwards, you keep moving to suburbs or neighboring cities or whatever, but you're leaving behind areas that you're, I use in campaigning, I would always try to explain it to people by saying, if your kitchen has a leaky faucet and an outdated countertop and it's looking ugly, you don't build a new kitchen in your backyard and extend the hallway down to it, do you? You remodel your kitchen. But we've been building new kitchens in our backyard for decades.
Let me ask you guys this, because this has come up in the mayor's race a lot, particularly from the incumbent mayor, talking about, she was left with a lot of things that were not done from previous bond issues. And I'll bring up Knight Street. Knight Street improvements were passed 10 years ago. It's not done. They haven't even barely started. Did the previous administration drag their feet on getting some of those projects done? And do you, as a council who were there at the time, take any blame for that?
I'm going to let Oliver talk about Knight Street, because that's been a thorn in his side for a while.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything positive coming out of spending 4 years saying we inherited this. The day that you walk in, you put your hand on the Bible and you say, I'll take care of the city, and you sit at your desk. It doesn't matter if you inherited good things, bad things. It's on your watch, and you have to fix it and make it better and move forward. The next council, the next mayor, or if Mayor Tyler's back in, she's going to have to continue to repair things. There are a lot of frustrations with how slow some bond projects moved, and I'm going to let Oliver talk about Knight Street and maybe
Yeah.
Ackard Street.
Please.
Okay, well, just, kind of stickler on dollars and time, so it would be 7 years ago.
Okay, my bad.
And I will say that the big argument about doing this big bond project was, for some of us, hey, my concern about doing this big project, do we have the capacity internal in the city to manage $175 million worth of projects? And ultimately, do we have enough contractors that can do it? And then, if you remember correctly, there was a whole discussion about doing $70 million of streets on top of the $170 million.
And this was during Cedric's.
This was during Cedric's regime. So, my point, all that is, we are not really, our capacity to do projects, there was never really, in my mind, an opportunity to get all of those bond projects done in the one term. And nobody really thought it would happen. That being said, the pace at which the ones that got done and when we actually drew down capital to do projects that we really still were 3 or 4 years away was very frustrating, maybe not as prudent it was in terms of financial management if it should have been. And then one thing that we don't do a great job is kind of a 3-year forward plan of, hey, if we're going to do Knight Street, let's start this year before we even have the contract bid to make sure those utility guys can start their 1-year prepping of the street and road so that then when we go out for the project, we can actually start on it and then not have to contact the SWEPCO or a Centerpoint. So that's frustration, certainly with Ackard and Knight Street, are that once we got ready to initiate the project, we had to wait another year for utilities before we could even initiate it. And that's, I'm going to say, poor long-term or mid-term planning.
Whose fault is that?
Well, you would probably say in some part the city engineering office, but that's an office where the person who'd been running it for some time retired in the last few years, and then his replacement passed away in office. So, there are some the guy that's in there now is a younger guy, got a lot of energy. I think he's really brought some new energy to that office, and, hopefully that's a good solution to this.
Time for one more question, and let's go down the line from start at Jeff to Michael and to Oliver. Looking back on 8 years city council, what is there one specific incident or moment that you can think of where you went, yeah, I'm glad I did this?
Oh God! I mean, anytime I get to talk to the people I represent. I mean, I went to a really wide variety of events the other day, and just a lot of different groups, all of whom were felt so comfortable talking to me. I guess that's what makes me feel good about doing it, is that I represent a lot of different people in my district, and the fact that they may look differently or have different interests or experiences than me, but they feel comfortable telling me about what they care about and what they want to see happen. That makes me feel really good about having done it.
Mike?
Yeah, I think this time of year, especially the end of the year, is when a lot of the homeowners associations in my district have their annual meetings, and I'm invited to speak and visit with them. And that really does give you more one-on-one time than any other way, because few people come to city council meeting to talk. But having that one-on-one, in a neighborhood setting and listening to their concerns, and a lot of it is just providing information back to them. I mean, that is always a feel-good moment.
For me, of course, as everybody knows, I'm a little bit of a wonk on some of this stuff. So the part that I think really, when we first came into office, the bond and the bond debt, frankly, was extremely poorly managed, assessed, over-milled. We were collecting taxes and I'm not saying anybody was doing anything wrong. It's just we had a millage that generated a certain amount of revenue, and nobody realized that we didn't quite need all of that revenue to pay our...
They may not have been doing it right, though.
They may not have been doing it right.
As right as could have been.
As right as could have been. So my point is, if you ask me, I think what we have done in that area is just dramatic improvement to the long-term financial health of this.
Let me throw one more thing out there. Do we have the water department right now? Is everything going to be fixed in that whole mess?
Listen, they're going through so many changes over there, and I hear that kind of frustration from citizens daily, and well-deserved. But, I have to say that had this city placed the emphasis on our infrastructure maintenance over the last 50 years that we have in the last 5 years, we wouldn't be in this situation today. We have not had the practice as a constituency telling our representatives. We have not had the practice as the water office itself because we hadn't done it in so long. These type of repairs are not cheap. They're not easy. They're disruptive. They're not particularly satisfying when they're completed, but they're needed. And so they're at least working in the right direction. They're going to make some mistakes, but I'll take a step backwards as long as there's 2 steps forward and we're making some kind of progress there. I see them taking progress. We got a new water billing system that's already being adopted right now. That's not to say there's not major problems that are frustrating over there, but as long as they're learning from them and improving, I'm hopeful.
I'll add one thing. If your model is to manually expect a human being to look at 60,000 water meters a month, and that's where you're going to get your data, that's probably not 20th century model of efficiency, not to mention 21st. So we need to invest in that infrastructure to get these online readers and get the data, because right now we're setting ourselves up with a lot of human error and a lot of inefficiencies.
Thank you guys for coming in. December 29th, your last day, right?
Yes, indeed.
They're
Gentlemen.
smiling when they answer that. Yeah.
Jeff Everson, Michael Corbin, Oliver Jenkins. Thank you, gentlemen. Great job. We appreciate it immensely. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on North Market near MLK Drive. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687 Road.
Almost 750, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here comes Your Money Now, brought to us by Barksdale Federal Credit Union. .752 Keel Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU will face Central Florida in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on January 1st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The first ever matchup between the Tigers and Knights will kick off at noon Central Time. This is LSU's first trip ever to the Fiesta Bowl and the first by an SEC team since 2000. Central Florida carries a nation's best 25-game winning streak into the game, including a 56-41 win over Memphis in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. LSU will be without Calvary alum Greedy Williams. The All-American announced on social media Sunday that he was foregoing his college eligibility and making himself available for the 2019 NFL Draft. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl will feature Duke from the ACC and Temple from the AAC. The Blue Devils are coached by David Cutcliffe, who coached in the I Bowl 3 previous times with Ole Miss and came out on top each time. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones is considered by many to be a first-round pick in the next NFL Draft. Temple's lone conference loss was to Central Florida. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl kicks off at 1:30 on December 27th. The Green Bay Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy after Sunday's loss to lowly Arizona at Lambeau Field. McCarthy coached the Packers to one Super Bowl title and had a 61% winning percentage over 13 years. And the Houston Texans ran their winning streak to 9 with a 29-13 win over Cleveland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 7. Wait.
Did you ever meet George H.W. Bush?
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, 7. Yes. Well, kind of.
I did too. Nice man.
No, I didn't. There's a story, and I can't tell it in the 90 seconds, but basically, I emceed a rally for him during the presidential race for his first term.
Cool.
In Grand Rapids, Michigan, I was on stage with the then vice president, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
And God bless the USA. What's his name? I can't think of the singer now.
Lee Greenwood.
And Lee Greenwood on stage.
Man.
But I came on the stage from one side, he came on the stage from the other. And because he was just coming on as I was walking off the stage, I did not get to shake his hand. So I'm thinking, when he leaves, I'll sort of move around the back of the stage and shake his hand before the Secret Service whisks him away.
Mm-hmm.
As we were done, as Lee Greenwood was singing God Bless the USA, I sort of weaseled my way around to the back of the stage to meet the then vice president, soon to be president. And as he's being whisked away by the Secret Service, I put my hand out and said, "Mr. Vice President, nice to meet you." He puts his hand out at the same time. Simultaneously, Secret Service agents grabbed our arms and lowered them both.
Whoa.
We have eye contact, and he just gives me a look like this. "Sorry, kid. Maybe next time."
Yeah.
757, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando. Here's Sean Hannity.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Polls were taken before the midterms, repeatedly showing top issues for the American people: the economy, healthcare, immigration, trade, terrorism. But the first item on Nancy Pelosi's legislative agenda is nothing to do with the top 5 issues that might actually help the American people. Now, right out of the box, she wants a piece of legislation that will force President Trump to release his tax returns. That's what you voted for? Okay. They're going to overreach. It's going to be nonstop. It's going to be endless attacks and, with their deep state partners, and all of which is going to do nothing, absolutely nothing to make life better for any one American. And that's the point.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Highland Avenue near Olive Street, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
759, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Weather Channel forecast kind of sunny and a lot cooler today. Probably not even above 55 right now. 46 at Keel. Ooh, it's 8 o'clock. And time for Fox News on Keel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
3 past 8 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL down yonder. Erin Local News getting ready right now.
Early voting numbers are in for Caddo Parish. We'll talk more about that. Big announcement today from Senator John Kennedy. That's coming up, too. And a local business VP has died in a plane crash.
Couple of guests on the way this hour. John K., Americans for Prosperity. Evidently, there is a faction, made up of business people and politicians. John, of course, not among them, who want to raise the gas tax again. They're going to try. Trey Giglio, Independence Bowl chairman, in just about 20 or 25 minutes. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather. It's all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Nearly 6,700 people voted early in the coming election. 3,828 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is this Saturday. Also from politics, Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision known today on whether or not he'll run for governor. Baton Rouge Republican businessman Eddie Raspone is currently the only announced challenger to Governor John Bel Edwards. LAPolitics.com publisher Jeremy Alford expects Kennedy to jump in.
Probably timing rather than indecision. John Kennedy has outside super PAC money lined up, pulled the trigger on his media consultant. It certainly seems like that he's lined up to make an announcement.
Kennedy's less than 2 years into his 6-year Senate term. The late former President George H.W. Bush will lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda from tonight until Wednesday morning. The 41st president died Friday at his home in Houston. He was 94. Local business VP dies in a plane crash. Matt Parker with that.
Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a plane crash. Johnson, a companion, and pilot all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. An investigation into what caused the crash is ongoing. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
New CDC numbers indicate drug overdose deaths up 12% in our state. Overdose deaths have contributed to the life expectancy rate going down for 3 straight years. President and CEO of Trust for America's Health, John Auerbach, says this marks the first time that more than 1,000 people died in a single year from overdoses in our state.
That kind of increase in a single year is extraordinarily unusual and a reminder that this is a very serious epidemic and one where we're not out of the woods yet.
He says part of the reason for the increase in the deaths last year was the increase in the use of synthetic opioids. Police say a woman in Louisiana accidentally shot in the back by her 2-year-old child. The Shreveport woman seriously wounded Saturday morning when it appears the child accidentally discharged an unsecured gun. Louisiana's getting an $11 million as its share of a multi-state settlement with Deutsche Bank over the manipulation of a key benchmark involving global interest rates. Attorney General Jeff Landry's office, which was involved in the settlement, says $3 million will go to the Bond Commission, the remaining $8 million to the Transportation Department. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup is the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl. Temple making their 4th straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Now, LSU will take on undefeated UCF in the Fiesta Bowl. Coach Ed Orgeron says his team deserved to play in a New Year's Six bowl game.
These guys started off unknown throughout the season, had some very big wins throughout the season. We gelled as a football team, and it's a great reward for our football team, very well deserved.
Meantime, LSU defensive back Greedy Williams, who played at Calvary in Shreveport, has declared for the NFL draft, and he will not play in the bowl game. An English couple that lost an engagement ring down a Times Square utility grate is now grateful that New York police found it. John Drennan and Daniela Anthony tweeted that they're happy officers were able to recover the ring, which they thought was gone forever. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 8 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
The cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
This is
101.7 FM and 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Erin has succumbed to her temporary illness and has headed for the door. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. John Kay is the state director for the Louisiana chapter of Americans for Prosperity, and he is standing by. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. What you been up to, man?
Thanks for having me. You know, we actually had our first daughter on election night, our first child, Jewel Elizabeth, and she is healthy and happy, and we're enjoying playing with her and welcoming her to the world.
Well, considering you had so much trouble during the flood a couple of years ago, I'm glad things have turned around and are going good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, I refer to this as sort of the legislation, the cockroach of legislation. I'm talking about everybody that wants to increase the gas tax. It looks like there's a whole bunch of, dare I say, pretty powerful folks who want it to be considered once again by the legislature in the spring. Tell us about it. Who's behind it? What chance does it have?
They do. There's a kind of the alphabet soup of groups in Baton Rouge. It's the name of the organization that's pushing it is Louisiana Coalition to Fix Our Roads. It's led by the executive director of the Louisiana Asphalt and Pavement Association, Eric Ponte. So this is not a grassroots push for a gas tax increase. This is pushed by people who would theoretically benefit from tax dollars being spent with their company. That's what this is. You're right. It's a cockroach. We're trying to squish it in this coming legislative session, if not before. My goal really, we killed it in 2017. My goal is to have this thing dead before the clock even turns over to 2019. So we've already announced a pretty vigorous push against it now.
35-member coalition, 35-member organization. That and is it unfair to say there's some rather influential people, though, that think this is a great idea? Why do they think that Louisiana needs a gas tax increase, and what amount are they talking?
I guess it's the same as anything else. Anytime we have a problem in Louisiana, instead of exploring free market solutions, we just ask the taxpayer for more money. It's happened more than just under Governor Edwards' term. This dates back a long time. I think that as we move forward in this discussion, you'll see the people of Louisiana kind of stand up again and say that they're not interested in it. They're not interested in another tax being passed. And furthermore, I don't think you'll see anyone run for governor saying that they will support this tax. I don't think that it's a popular thing. If it was, I think you would see people run for office on it rather than get elected and then try to do it back.
An interesting point there. John Bell was backing originally, along with Sean Wilson. They were looking originally. It was a 40-cent a gallon gas tax increase. I can't imagine that anybody on the Dem side at any level going into any election is going to come out and say, I think we need a gas tax increase. And yet, is this group, is this coalition, is this pro-tax bunch just throwing away $500 of their own money? Why is their timing that bad?
Well, if you look at the details, they've announced a 20-month push. So what I think is going to happen is they'll run it this year, and they'll hope that either John Bell gets reelected or someone gets elected who's friendly to them on a gas tax, so that in the next year they can get it passed. But here's the catch. You can't get it passed in a legislative session in 2020 at the end of that 20-month push without a special session being called. So they're banking that someone gets elected governor, whether it's John Bell or someone else, and they'll support a gas tax enough that they'll call a special session to have one passed in their first term, one of the first things that they do in office. I don't see it happening. I think that it's a pipe dream. I think that it's dead on arrival. We're just trying to make sure that it stays dead on arrival. The interesting piece of this legislation, though, because I have gotten a sneak peek at it, is not only do they initially raise the tax over a few years, they also grant the legislature the ability to continue raising the tax indefinitely every 3 years by 3 pennies with only a simple majority vote rather than a supermajority that's currently required. So it's an end around of the Constitution to continue raising taxes forever.
But, John, we called it the cockroach of legislation for a reason. If John Bell should be reelected, you know that he would. You know he'd do that, right? I mean, call the special session, the special legislative session, and try and push it through like he did before.
I think that there's a really good chance that you're right. Here, let me throw this out there. I've heard a couple of people mention it, that John Bell wants it on his desk in 2019 so that he can veto it and say that he's not going to support any more tax increases. I haven't heard that from anyone in the administration, but I've heard it from a lot of people who think that this would be a good election year ploy for him. Whether or not it is or not, I don't know, but it's an interesting thing to think about.
So the Louisiana Coalition to Fix Our Roads, which is basically a bunch of lobbyists who are kicking in $500,000 to do a digital campaign telling Louisiana how the state needs more of their money to fix roads across the state. That's what they're doing. What are American Federation for Prosperity? What are you guys doing to counter this?
So we have, you'll see it across the state, those gas station TVs, when you're pumping your gas, you'll see a 15-second ad where Santa Claus pulls up. The road builders ask him for a tax increase, and he says to tell, instead of ho, 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 tell them no, no, no. It's kind of a fun, lighthearted play on the gas tax issue during the holidays that I think will get people's attention, and it's a little bit different than some of the things we've done in the past that are a little bit more cut and dry and focused on the facts. This is focused on the facts, but it does it in a lighthearted way. Additionally, our chapter is going to reach over 100,000 Louisiana voters before the end of 2018. We started after the election was over last month. Before the end of this year, we're going to contact over 100,000 voters via text message and direct phone calls and have quality conversations with them about the tax increase. Let them know what the legislature is going to be asked to vote on this year, and let them know who's behind it as well. We don't think that the voters in Louisiana are for this, so they are our secret weapon in making sure that it's defeated this year and next year.
John Kay, Director of Louisiana Chapter of Americans for Prosperity. Congratulations on the baby. We'll see you soon next time you're in town. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
19 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL Sports Update. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU will face Central Florida in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on January 1st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The first ever matchup between the Tigers and Knights will kick off at noon Central Time. This is LSU's first trip ever to the Fiesta Bowl and the first by an SEC team since 2000. Central Florida carries a nation's best 25-game winning streak into the game, including a 56-41 win over Memphis in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. LSU will be without Calvary alum Greedy Williams. The All-American announced on social media Sunday that he was foregoing his college eligibility and making himself available for the 2019 NFL Draft. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl will feature Duke from the ACC and Temple from the AAC. The Blue Devils are coached by David Cutcliffe, who coached in the I Bowl 3 previous times with Ole Miss and came out on top each time. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones is considered by many to be a first-round pick in the next NFL Draft. Temple's lone conference loss was to Central Florida. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl kicks off at 1:30 on December 27th. The Green Bay Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy after Sunday's loss to lowly Arizona at Lambeau Field. McCarthy coached the Packers to one Super Bowl title and had a 61% winning percentage over 13 years. And the Houston Texans ran their winning streak to 9 with a 29-13 win over Cleveland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin away for the rest of the day, 25 past 8 o'clock. Trey Giglio is the Independence Bowl chairman. I've already called him John Michael 3 or 4 times, but he's my cousin. It's a plumbing pitch. You know, I asked you off the air, but your answer was so awesome, I'm going to ask you again. Independence Bowl chairman. Dude, how'd you get roped into that?
Robert, it's an honor to do it for our community. This means so much for the economic development, economic exposure for the city of Shreveport. It's an honor.
Talk to me about Duke and Temple. Talk to me about how we got, because there's a lot of people yesterday, Duke and Temple, how did we? And I'm saying, look, it's just the way the system works. If you can, in about a couple of minutes, explain to folks how that system works that we end up with those two teams.
Well, of course, in the ACC, we have the 8th selection. And you can see the bowls after us, who they took, who was
That's
available
based on
to
payout.
us.
Fair enough?
It is. Payout has a lot to do with it and some other factors, but payout has a lot to do with it. Okay. And so you see we had Duke on the table, and then who went below our game was Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College. And out of that mix, of course, Duke was our top selection, and the ACC did assign Duke to us. So excited to have him back. Coach Cutcliffe, this will be his 4th appearance in Shreveport. He's a huge fan of the Independence Bowl, and he's really excited to be back here.
Pardon me, but when you think football programs, you don't necessarily think Duke and Temple. Sell me on this one a little bit.
If you look at their seasons, Duke ended 7-5. They had a great season. They started off really strong. They had some huge wins in their program this year, and they've done a lot with their program. They're really a national brand in football now. On the other side of the ball, in the American, we know the SEC did not fill with the number of bowl-eligible teams. They put so many up into the New Year's Six system. So we go to our backup agreements. Our backup agreements are with Conference USA and the American Conference. We took Southern Miss last year from Conference USA, so it was an American year for the backup agreements. The American made Temple available to us. That's who was assigned to us. A lot of people want to know how that worked, how that happened. Well, in that conference, they have a philosophy that their top teams go to their top bowl games. We are considered a top bowl game in the American Conference, and they send their top teams to play in the Power 5 teams. Their top teams this year were UCF, Cincinnati, Memphis, Temple. Those are the 4 teams in the American that will play the Power 5 this year. The conference assigned Temple to us. They had a strong season. We're excited to welcome them here.
Bluntly speaking, is this going to be a difficult sell to the people of Shreveport, especially with the attendance being a little iffy the last few years with sponsorship? Well, sponsorship is okay for a while, but I guess sell me on this one. I'm a Shreveport guy. Sell me on this.
This is a unique opportunity to see 2 national programs that you otherwise would not have the opportunity to see. 2 teams that are actually really good. Duke 7-5, Temple 8-4. Duke has a quarterback that's going to go into the NFL draft pretty high, NFL prospect pick, and great coaches, great players. It's a national game. I mean, this game is pretty evenly matched. It's a big deal.
Is the toughest part, is the most difficult part of being Independence Bowl chairman. I would think it would be maintaining a high level of community involvement. Is that? Am I on the money there?
I don't think it's maintaining anything. I think it's striving to be better. We can't. If our goal is to maintain, that doesn't work. Our goal is to be better in everything that we do, in the events that we put on during bowl week, throughout the year for this community, in selection order and team selection. We're striving to constantly be better.
What's going to be better this year? Every year with sponsors and stuff, they've, especially walk-ons being walk-ons. I mean, they took us to a new echelon last year, I thought, as far as the game accoutrement. What's on the table for this year that's going to be awesome?
Bowl week is going to be remarkable. We start with the 23rd, the big game show at the Municipal Auditorium, where the two teams will compete in a Family Feud-style game show. Very competitive. Tickets available to the public for just $5. It's exciting. Then we move to the night before the game on the 26th. We'll have the Mardi Gras preview parade, starting at the Louisiana Boardwalk, going through downtown Shreveport, ending at the Red River District. Over 20 floats will be in the parade. It will be awesome. The team bands will march in it. And then we go to the free concert in the Red River District immediately after the parade. What a fun night, not only for our local community to be a part of, but the traveling fans. Day of the game, we're going to have a fan fest like we've never seen before. Big game atmosphere. Chef John Fols will be here breaking
the biggest gumbo, Guinness Book of World Records for gumbo.
World record. Over about 6,800 pounds of
What kind
gumbo.
of work do you guys do? What kind of work will you do in the next, say 2 to 3 weeks in like Durham, North Carolina, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the homes of the two schools?
Well, I can tell you that the teams are already coordinating their visits to come to Shreveport this week, where they'll be touring the city, the facilities, planning their bowl week. Our bowl staff will be working around the clock until bowl week to make sure everything is finalized and set, as well as our marketing efforts are out, and our team will be working on that. So even though we have been working all year long very hard with our events and planning for this week, everything really ramps up right now.
Is our day and time advantageous for television ratings, for exposure for our market for Shreveport and Bossier?
Well, our TV date on the 27th positions us in bowl week, which is where the most prestigious games are positioned between Christmas and New Year's. And we're on the 27th, which allows a whole day on the 26th for fans to travel in after Christmas to come see this bowl game, fans of the two universities. So I think it's really good, and like I said, we're positioned with the more prestigious games in the country.
Trey Giglio, Independence Bowl chairman, the busiest man, the hardest working man in the Arklatex for the next month or so, and your staff. Give them all my best. Thank you for joining us. My pleasure as always.
Thank you so much.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Erin has local news up next. Here's Ruben Traffic Update.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
A cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
information. KEEL News now.
The casket of former President George H.W. Bush will make its way on Air Force One from Texas to D.C. to lie in the Capitol Rotunda. Fox's Casey Stiegel is in Houston with details of the funeral arrangements.
Wednesday, that national day of mourning, and the state funeral will be held at 11 Eastern at the Washington National Cathedral. From there, it is back to Texas, where Mr. Bush will lie in repose at St. Martin's Episcopal Church around the corner from us here in Houston. And Thursday morning, a second funeral service held there before finally taking one last ride in Texas. A train will carry the former president from Houston to College Station, where he will be laid to rest at his presidential library and museum.
He'll be buried next to his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. Early voting numbers are in for Caddo Parish. Matt Parker with that.
According to the Caddo Registrar of Voters, nearly 6,700 people voted early in the upcoming election. 3,838 Democrats and 2,132 Republicans cast ballots, with the majority of people voting in person. Some of the items people voted on include the Shreveport mayor's race and several city council races. If you didn't vote early, Election Day is Saturday, December 8th. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Senator John Kennedy expected to make his decision today on whether or not he'll run for governor in 2019.
Well, I've been asked to run. If you believe the polls, if I ran, I'd win.
Most political watchers do expect Kennedy to jump into the race. A local business VP has died in a plane crash. Sandra Johnson, vice president of TEG Architects, has died in a crash. Johnson, a companion and pilot, all died after a private jet crashed shortly after takeoff in southern Indiana. Johnson was a Shreveport native and had worked for TEG since the 90s. Investigation into what caused that crash continues. The Temple Owls will take on the Duke Blue Devils at the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl December 27th. The matchup's the first time either team has appeared in Shreveport at the Indy Bowl. Temple making their fourth straight bowl appearance, while Duke had to pick up key victories against Army, Northwestern, and Baylor to earn a spot in the game. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com or at the Independence Bowl office. The LSU Tigers, meantime, will be in the Fiesta Bowl on January 1st. They'll take on undefeated UCF. Greedy Williams, Shreveport defensive back, will not be playing in the game. He's announced he's headed for the NFL draft. Here comes Santa Claus down the slopes. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more.
Imagine Santa Claus on skis. About 300 Jolly St. Nick's donning skis and snowboards at Sunday River Ski Resort in Maine to raise money for charity. The 19th annual Santa Sunday in the small town of Newry drawing more Kris Kringles than ever before, but this one is only for Santas who go all in. Participants play the part from head to toe, complete with the red hat, red outfit, and white beard, but they can leave the reindeer at home. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Greg Adams from the afternoon show wandering by. We don't have a long segment here. When we come back, I got a hockey story for you. But Erin McCarty, not bothered at all by the news that Alabama All-American defensive back Greedy Williams will be passing on a chance to play in the Fiesta Bowl against Central Florida. Nah, might get hurt. He's going the Fournette route. Might get hurt. Might tweak something.
Well, it's not just the Fournette route. I mean,
Christian McCaffrey also.
Ed Oliver at Houston. There are going to be probably 20 guys this year who forego their bowl game.
You not being an LSU fan, you being a Michigan native originally, just your thoughts, and I asked Erin this, but this is the answer I want from you, is what we're seeing now, is it the result of the system that the NCAA and the College Football Bowl Series and the Final Four in football at least, are they reaping what they have sown?
No. What this is a product of is not paying college players. This is a product of, if we were 15 years ago and Louisiana, an LSU team that is not in contention for an AP national championship or a coaches or a BCS national championship, if they're still only playing, they're like 13th ranked in the nation, at this point kids would still be skipping because there's just too much money on the table.
If college athletes were being paid a stipend, as it were, still, if they're looking at millions and millions and millions more in the NFL, why wouldn't they forego
You would have some that would, but you wouldn't have the grotesque number that we will see this year. You will see so many, which, going back to, I know there's been a lot of Independence Bowl talk. The idea that you have to get these big college programs to make your bowl relevant doesn't mean anything anymore, because if you go get a team that has a NFL draft pick quarterback or a running back like a Christian McCaffrey, if you went and got that team, he's not playing in the bowl game. So what does it matter?
The even more blunt question, perhaps, and this is not something I said, this is something Nick Saban said. This is something that Alabama coach Nick Saban, arguably, in my mind, the greatest college football coach of all time, this is something Saban said. The way the system is now, picking a Final Four and having only 3 games at the end of the season, do we have? That's the question, and this is what Saban said. We've created a situation where only at the end of the season, only 3 games matter.
Well, because it's not a playoff. It's a tournament. Or it's not a tournament. It should be a tournament. It's an invitational right now. It should be a tournament. There's no excuse as to why they can't do it the same way that the NCAA basketball teams do. They still take a whole bunch of time off to travel all across the country and play a whole bunch of games. So if you took, and I would love this idea, I've been pitching this for a little while, if you had an expansive playoff, you shorten the season by 2 or 3 of these cupcake non-conference games that don't mean anything. Shorten the season up a little bit, make it 10 games long, add a couple extra layers of playoff, maybe expand it to 16, maybe even go higher than that. Take some of the bowl games that at this point don't mean anything, an Independence Bowl, a Potato Bowl, an Outback Bowl. Those games suddenly become play-in games or first-round bowl or college playoff games.
Do you think, and we'll wrap it up with this, can you imagine a scenario where you go to Joe Oliva or whoever the AD is at Alabama or Texas or wherever else it happens to be and say, we've got an idea. I want you to give up 2 home games. Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that is, in any way, is that viable?
Based on the amount of money that they can generate from a TV contract and from sponsorships of these overall, the home games don't matter anymore to these teams. That's why they have their own networks. It's all about TV money and advertising money. That's why when Tiger Stadium doesn't sell out, you don't see him pounding his fist on the table saying we need to sell more tickets. I mean, what do they have, 1 sellout this year? And okay, sorry, they can still say sell out, but when the eyeball test circles around Tiger Stadium and you see an entire upper bowl that's about 13% full, they don't care that those tickets aren't filled, aren't being sold. That's if they have 1 less home game against Southeastern, but they get to have a piece of the pie on a bigger playoff system being sold by ESPN, I think they'd make that trade-off in a heartbeat. Because it's not about the kids. It's not about the game. It's about the money.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel.
Since when
traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue near East 70th Street. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
The cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, who is away. Probably. What do you think, Parky? Give me odds on Erin missing tomorrow. She wasn't doing too good.
I'm gonna say she's definitely out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe even a few days after.
I'm thinking we don't see her this week. I think she's gone for the week.
Yeah.
She's got the days. She
see.
always likes to roll stuff over. You know what? She'll say with such unbridled enthusiasm. What's that, Erin? You know what? I've already got 3 weeks vacation rolled over for next year. She could take a year off. She could be chief of police, for God's sake.
Wow.
Okay, so Greg Adams is here. Okay, so something happened at the Mudbugs game on Saturday night. I told the story in the 6 o'clock hour. Something happened Saturday night that had only happened one other time in 20 years since the Mudbugs began in 1997. Let me start with this. Gajik Malakian is a great big wiener.
Okay.
Gajik Malakian is a kid that plays for Amarillo, and he is originally from Moscow. And at one point, Parky, was it second period, I believe? I think it was second period, not third. I don't remember for sure.
There was a big dust up in the second period.
He picked up a 10-minute penalty for misconduct. So he's going to be in the box a long time. So he comes over to the box, and I'm looking at the Amarillo roster. And I can see, looking at the Amarillo roster, this is a rather interesting name. And I see Malakian, Milakyan, not all that difficult. But then I see the first name, Gagik. Looks like magic. Gagik. Is it Gagic? Is it Jagic? Is it Gagigis? I don't know. Well, I have a habit when there's a name on a roster I don't know and they end up in the penalty box, I just ask the off-ice official in the box.
Yeah.
Ask the kid his name.
Right.
Want to do a good job. Don't want him coming to Shreveport and think that guy can't say names. So Malakian is in the box, and he's sitting there. And I tap on the glass, and I say to the off-ice official in the box, ask him how he says his first name. And he asks him, and he comes to the corner, where the glass stops, and he says to me, Gajik, or Gajik, I don't remember. If you say it fast, it sounds Russian.
Right,
Gajik Malakian. And so I announced the penalty. 3 minutes, 10 seconds, blah, 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 Gajik Malakian, misconduct. At that point, I look over at Malakian, seated in the penalty box, and we have eye contact, and I give him like a thumb up or a thumb down, i.e., did I get your name right? Did I at least do you justice? He flips me off.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He just literally, he gives me one of these.
Yep.
I'm thinking, kid, What the hell? I did the best I could, and you give me one of those.
For the rest of the game, he is comrade.
Well, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking, A, he might be a little stewed, a little upset at the official for the 10-minute misconduct, or he might be mad at Mudbugs player Ryan Dickinson, who immediately came over, stood right on the other side of the penalty box door, and rubbed his eyes in mock tears.
Okay.
Now, I told you that had happened one time before. Back in the early days of the CHL, maybe 2001, 2002, Memphis had a guy named, his first name was spelled Luch, Nasato. I assumed it was Luke Nasato. Didn't have time to get a pronunciation. He gets a penalty. He was a maniac. He had a reputation as a crazy man. I mean, crazy. You know, that cocaine, 6 Sinutab, and 4 cups of coffee kind of hockey player. We may have to dump it. I'm going to go on here for a second. So he gets a penalty. Nasato does. And I announce, blah, 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 Luke Nasato, Luch. Luke Nasato, 2 minutes, attempted homicide.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, there's this banging on the glass. I mean, and he's screaming at me, hey, hey. And I look, and I mean, he's all but foaming at the mouth. And he screams at me the following, but I am leaving out the profanities. You may insert them where they seem appropriate. Hey, you stupid guy. It's Luch. Luch. If you get it wrong again, I'm coming to your house and kill your entire family.
Huh. He's a hockey player, so I mean...
Twice in 20 years, I have been physically threatened, or at least somewhat emotionally abused by a guy.
Okay, how old is Comrade from Amarillo? Probably
Actually, from Moscow, maybe 21 or 22.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, is he one of the kids? Because you said kids, so like, did you feel threatened by a child?
He was 6'2" and about 215.
Oh, okay.
I feel threatened by ushers who are twice my age. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. It's sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
Are listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
On Friday, Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler came and talked to us on American Ground Radio. She talked about what she would do differently if she got a second term, including more marketing of Shreveport, especially to Shreveporters.
And she spoke more candidly about her opponent than ever before. I got the impression that it never occurred to her that she needed to tout her administration's successes over the past 4 years and not just at election time.
We learned a lot in this interview, and it's available for you online if you'd like to check out it on Facebook. We have a standing invitation to Adrian Perkins to come answer questions in studio as well. We will see if he'll take us up on that.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Grab your mics, boys. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. I, of course, not only am not a wrestling fan. No, that's not fair. I am not a wrestling fan, and I started to say, Jay, grab that one too. Mm-hmm. Jay Watley, Greg Adams here. I started to say I am not a wrestling fan, and to a point in my life, I would have made fun of it. But because wrestling, come on, this is just wrestling, bunch of goons, roided up maniacs, blah, blah, blah. But because of you, Greg Adams, you, Jay Watley, and you, Matt Parker, I have a newfound respect for wrestling and will go as far as to say that they are as well-trained, well-conditioned, and some of the best athletes in the world. So tell me about WWE last night at CenturyLink Center. We've got about 90 seconds.
It was probably one of their better shows over the last couple of months. The big main draw was Ronda Rousey. Matt said, I said, how is WWE? He said, Ronda Rousey's hotter in person than she looks.
Hey, man's got to have his priorities.
Jay, you've been to a lot of the shows.
It was cool. I enjoy. I wouldn't say I'm as deep into it, but I enjoy the theater of it.
Yeah.
I enjoy a good theater, and it's just a good show. Yeah. I think you respect it when you see it up close.
Best part of last night, Parky.
Oh, Ronda. I mean, watching, just seeing her in person, all the things that she's accomplished is cool. Plus, it's always fun to watch someone who is as talented as she is apply her craft. So.
To make your point that you so successfully made to me on more than one occasion, tell everybody about the economic impact that WWE WrestleMania has when it comes back to New Orleans.
Oh God, when they were in New Orleans this past year, was what, Greg, $175 million?
Yeah, it was the second highest economic impact it's ever delivered. Last year was its highest at $180 million to Orlando, and the difference there is that Orlando was an outdoor open-air stadium, allowing them to sell more tickets than the Superdome.
And what were you telling me, that in the scheme of sporting events worldwide is number 3?
Well, it depends on if it's an off year for the Olympics or not. So it moves up on years the Olympics aren't in play, but it's
Super Bowl.
Nationally, it's top 3. Worldwide, it's top 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, most likely, Sans McCarty.
Yay.
857, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Kim Commando.
It's the happiest time of year. It's also the busiest time for hackers. Kim Commando with your Monday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by Boll & Branch, the perfect gift for everyone on your list. BollandBranch.com, promo code KIM. You have to be smarter than hackers. When traveling, use a virtual private network or VPN, especially when you're at a hotel or on free public Wi-Fi. It stops digital thieves from intercepting your traffic to steal your accounts and passwords. Next, hackers love to set up fake connections, so be cautious of generic names like hotel or airport Wi-Fi. Once you connect, hackers have all your data. What about the free public charging stations? Well, the cord you use to charge your phone is also a data transfer cable. Plugging your phone into a hacked port gives a hacker everything on it. Bring a charging cable along with your AC adapter. But if a USB port is your only option, power down your device to reduce the risk. I'm Kim Commando. I may be America's digital pro, but even I enjoy forgetting the tech when it comes to the new Epson Fast Photo Scanner. Scan stacks of photos from wallet size to 8x10s, even Polaroids. Fast Photo offers automatic two-sided scanning, so you can capture any handwritten notes on the back. Damaged or faded photos? Fast Photo has the software to automatically restore your memories. And best of all, it's so easy. Order yours today when you visit epson.com/fastphoto.
What's the perfect gift this holiday season? A set of Boll & Branch sheets. Boll & Branch sheets are made from pure organic cotton, making them the softest and most comfortable sheets in the world. Giving a thoughtful gift has never been easier. Right now, Boll & Branch is offering $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping when you use promo code KIM. That's $50 off plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com, promo code KIM.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
The cooler temperatures here today with partly cloudy skies in the forecast. We'll top out in the mid-50s today. A clear sky tonight, low 34. Sunshine for tomorrow with a high 52. And sunny skies at midweek with Wednesday's high in the mid-50s. Next chance of rain in the forecast Thursday night into Friday. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.